Hello and welcome to Digital Publishing Online. This is Lisa Gabrielle, and we are continuing with our demonstration on setting up the book pages for the Type Variations book. Okay, we left off with creating our 5 by 5 unit grid and assigning margins around the grid area. Okay, now keep in mind all this time we've been working on the master page, and we know that because down here in the lower left-hand corner, it says A master. We can also look up here and notice that we are highlighted or the A master is blue. It's like a light color of blue. That indicates that that's the page we're working on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, going back to our diagram that we've been working on, is we're going to create a label system. Okay, now I have one. I have this example of this demonstration that I have finished here. Now, I want to stress here, and this is absolutely critical to understand that the label system is based on your own original design. Okay, the only thing that you're required to do is have specific information inside the label design. Okay, so in other words, I may have 25 people in this class. I'm going to see 25 different label designs. So every student is going to design their own label design. I just want to make sure that's clear because in the past, students have just copied exactly the label design that I'm showing you in the demonstration, and that's not very original. What I'm looking for is that you take the text content, the label information, and you design a label design. Okay, again, reiterating that with visuals is always a great idea. So coming back to these here that I showed you a couple weeks ago, or I'm sorry, a couple videos ago, this is one label design that this student did. Here's another label design that this student did. And here's another label design that this student did. Okay, so they're all three uniquely different label designs based on your particular typefaces project. Okay, so you will be turning in, I believe, in the following weeks, I believe it's the week after this, you'll be turning in variations of possible label designs for your pages. So I will give you some feedback on how your label designs are coming along in terms of that. But for right now, we're just going to get something in place just for purposes of this demonstration so that you kind of get an idea of where things need to go. So this is an example again of the finished demo that we're doing today. And here we are. This is the one we're working on. Okay. So at this point, you're going to need to get the text tool and you're going to need to make a text block. And again, remember that you need to be on the master page while you're doing this. And what's required for the label, I'm going to go over here, and you don't really even have to type this in. You could just come into this PDF that I gave you and you can just select this information on the PDF and you can go into your InDesign document and you could paste that information here. Okay, see how I just pasted that in there? Now, you don't have to put the numbers 1 in here. These are just in here to show you that you need to have 1 through 6 in there. Okay, so it should have this information. The other thing about the label design is it needs to either be in Times or Helvetica because those are the only two typefaces you'll be using for this project. So you need to select the text and come into your character parameters and change this. I'm going to go ahead and change it to Helvetica because I'm a Helvetica kind of gal. And I'm going to use Helvetica New regular. Okay. Now, off the bat, this label's a bit big, so I'm going to go ahead and size it down a little bit. Just make it like 10 point. Now, just to put some variation in here, what I might do is I might come in here and I'm going to just type in your first phase. Now, what is a phase? Again, back referencing the project handout. Oops. No, did I must have, no. Okay. It's on this page right here. So we're going to call phase 1. You can call it either phase 1 or you can call it phase 1 alignment. So we're going to call this phase 1 alignment. Okay. And I might say, well, I think I want this to be bold so it stands out. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to bold. And I might also say that this is just a bit big compared to the rest. So I might make this 8. And I might leave phase alignment in 10 point. Now you can delete the word folio because we're going to put that separate. So basically what you need here is the typeface, which will be whatever typeface you're using on your composition in here. So I'm going to say Helvetica. Okay. And justification, I'm going to give you a handout which will help you to, it'll give you acronyms for the different justifications. So I'm going to say FL for flush left, and I might say centered, because maybe I centered my headline and my subhead and then I flushed left on my body copy. This is a 1-column design, and I'm using I don't know, we'll say 8 point type. Okay. All right. So for this particular page, now again, keep in mind that you are working on a master page right now. So what I'm doing is kind of putting this information in here for position only, because this information is going to change for each page. It looks like I misspelled Helvetica there. Okay. All right. So I kind of like that. I'm going to go ahead and maybe move it over a little bit so it lines up with the margin there. Okay. Now, I kind of like that. That's cool, but I want a little bit of, design to it. So maybe I might come over and grab a rule, and I might say, hold down the shift key and make a rule here. And I've got my label system. Now this is just an example of a label. These are the things that need to be in the label. This label is going to show up on every page. This information is generic right now because it's going to change per page based on whatever you're doing in this composition over here. I just threw this in for stylistic reasons. Maybe you might want to go even further and hold down the Option key and duplicate that. Maybe you want to do some kind of thing that's like this, and it's like this. Maybe you want to make that 1 point. So you've got some contrast going on there. So now if I look at this in preview, this is what I have going on so far. Okay, so I've got this real simple label design set up. I've got a couple rules to give it some visual interest, to kind of draw our eye to that area. I've got my text content in there that's required for my label. The only thing that's missing is my page number. Okay. All the while, keep in mind, I'm working on my master page here. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a page number here. And I kind of like the way this is aligning here. If I pull a guide over here, I kind of like that. So I think I'm going to put my page number right here to line up with the rest of this so that it looks nice and structured. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to grab the text tool here, and we're going to draw a box right about there. See how I did that? And get your zoomer tool. You can zoom in on that. And again, I'm assuming that you know all the basics, how to zoom in on stuff and things like that. So I'm not going over each individual tool I'm using here, but I did use the zoom tool to zoom into this. And basically I just did a drag zoom and it zooms into that area. Command minus will move you out, and Command plus will move you in. Okay, Command minus and Command plus. All right, now everybody got a text block drawn there? All right, make sure your cursor is in there. So you want to put your cursor in there. And we're going to come up here to type, and we're going to pull down to insert character. Let's see. Is it markers? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so insert character, markers, current page number. Okay. And when you insert that in there, it's going to put an A there. And go ahead and select that A, and you're going to change that to the font you're using. So I was using Helvetica New, regular. And page numbers are generally small, so I'm going to go ahead and bump that down to like 6. Notice over here that it moved the A because I went ahead and sized it. So I'm going to kind of recenter that text block, and I'm going to move it down so it's aligned right there with that there. Okay, so this is my page number. This is my label, and this is my kind of, simple design. Okay. So if I command 0, that is what's used to put it to fit the window. And if I turn off my my preview, put it to preview where it turns off all my guides, I could see that I have something kind of going on here so far. All right. The other thing I want to point out is if you double click page 1 here, notice that the page number changes from an A to a number 1. Okay, so that page number is kind of like active in that whatever page you create down here from that master, it will relabel the page number to be whatever page it is. Okay, so that's why it says 1 here and not A. Okay, so if I double click back to my master, notice I'm looking at my A here. All right, so let's go ahead and turn on our guides again. All right, so I think we've got everything in here for our first page. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back to here and let's scroll down to our template. And it looks like I've got everything. I've got my 6x6. I've got my label system in there. I've set up my orientation properly. My margins are in. I've got my binding set up. I'm good to go. So let's go back to InDesign and take a look here and make sure. All right. So once you have your page, your first master designed, okay, then we're later going to have another video on how to start creating additional pages after this first master. But for right now, what I'd like you to do is to first come up here in the master area and right click on the word A master, and you're going to select it, and you're going to come over here and say, where is it? Options. Oh, here, master options for A master. I'm going to select this right here. And we're going to change this to read prefix 1, and we're going to change this to read alignment. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start labeling our master pages based on our phases. So where did I get 1 in alignment? If you go back to here, your first phase is phase 1, and it's called alignment. So that's what we're going to call this first master page. So the prefix is 1, and we're going to name it alignment, and we're going to leave everything else at default. Say OK, and notice over here, we now have one master page named alignment. And we have one page based on that master. Okay. Now we're going to have other videos going over how to further build the master pages and further build the internal pages. But for right now, what I'd like you to focus on is following the videos to get to this point. And then next week, you're going to be turning in label ideas. So part of what you're going to be turning in is possible designs for your label system. Okay. And that label system is going to show up on every page of your book. But before you make a duplicate of it and apply it to every page of your book, you want to really get a good design kind of set up. So I'd like for you to submit label designs next week. I can give you some feedback before you commit to your final label look. And then once you have your final label look, then you'll create your additional masters and your additional pages based on those masters. Okay, so this should be part of what you work on this week. You don't have to turn this page into me this week, but next week you will have to turn in label ideas to me. So you are going to have to at least get this far. Okay? So good luck, and post any questions you have on this demonstration in the problems and solutions area for this week.